Good morning. I've only got about 20 minutes to do this live. I'm getting ready to go to my cardiologist appointment this morning, which I'm feeling a little anxious about. So, normally I fast. I do 16 to 18. Well, I didn't bring a napkin. That wasn't very smart. I'll be right back. Anyway, normally I feel so weird always when I'm talking and there's nobody in the room with me. So, but there's that. Okay, so I had one request. Yesterday I put coconut drops in my plain Greek yogurt, and somebody asked me to show what brand. So this is the brand now. This is caramel, which I'm going to make me coffee. This is my very first time trying this caramel flavor. So you're going to get to see whether I like it or not live, live, live. Okay, so I'm not fasting today, obviously, and I'm not using the stress as an excuse. I don't know, I love coffee, and every once in a while I love to have myself a nice, flavorful coffee. Okay, so here is the caramel flavor, Sweet Drops. So for whoever was asking me yesterday about the coconut flavored, this is the brand. Sweet Leaf Sweet Drops. They're made with stevia. Oh my. That's freaking delicious. That is delicious. That caramel flavor. And I'm drinking it in my Keto the Mosquito cup. You can find that on Teespring. I'll add a link in the description below after the video. So, I've had several of you, good morning, Linda. I've had several of you ask me about my heart condition because several of you are new to my YouTube channel. I had a question asking how long have I been suffering with this heart condition, and I've got to tell you that it appeared, or I can't, you can have sick sinus syndrome and not be symptomatic, okay? So more than likely, because my father has this same condition, this is a genetic issue. There are a lot of people that are diagnosed with bradycardia but never diagnosed with sick sinus syndrome. Sick sinus syndrome is a series of heart arrhythmias that you don't commonly find together in one person. So my heart can go from very slow to very fast, back to very slow. And because my heart is constantly changing speeds, I walk around most of the time like, you know, when you get choked up, when you're about to cry and you can feel it right here, the tightness in your throat. I feel that frequently. I frequently feel the heart palpitations, the PVCs, the missed heartbeats. It's not really horrible, but it's because of my past, it's enough to send fear. If you guys have ever listened to the story of my first big heart episode, you'll understand why just the smallest amount of fluttering can make me very anxious. And then there's a lot of people out there who think they know everything that say, well, that's why you're having the heart flutters because you're anxious. Well, okay, no. If I haven't had them in a month and then all of a sudden I have a really bad day, that doesn't mean that I was like, okay, I haven't had flutters in a while, so let me get nervous about something. I mean, you guys are ridiculous. Those of you who think that you've got anxiety diagnosed, you're ridiculous. We as human beings live in a world where everyone reacts differently to different situations. There are people out there in this world that live to come on social media and troll, right? I could never do that because of where my heart lives. I could never do that. I could never purposely reach out and cause someone anxiety. So somebody who's trolling, who's finding pleasure, finding joy, that would stress me the hell out because that's not who I am as a person. Somebody that cleans windows on a 17-story building, they might not find that stressful. They may love being up there on that scaffolding. They may love looking out and being able to see the layout of the city. But for someone like me who's afraid of heights, that would be a huge issue for me. That would not be a career that I would choose. Sometimes there's people who are triggered by financial stressors, occupational stressors. Like right now as we speak, I know I'm under an incredible amount of stress and my heart is just racing. My heart is racing. Like I can feel it all the way up here in my throat. It's crazy. But I'm going to my doctor today and I'm going to talk to him about possible solutions about some of the other symptoms. So here's the timeline. So the first time I was ever hospitalized for my heart issue was I was about 31 or 32 years old because I had just married my ex-husband. I was close to 31, 32 when I got married. And it started out with just flutters and palpitation. Every once in a while I would complain of shortness of breath, feeling faint, feeling dizzy, but also at that time I was experiencing hypoglycemia. This is when my sugar problems started arising. So because arrhythmias, good morning, Barb. Good morning, thank you for sitting with me. I'm trying a new coffee flavor, new sweet drops. This is absolutely wonderful. Good morning, Victoria. Do you know that my best friend growing up was Victoria? I love that name. I've always thought it was very beautiful. She was Italian and her family was very Italian and she was just gorgeous. She had long, silky black hair and she's a very nice person to me when I was very young. Good morning. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Secret Keto Dieter. For those of you in my channel that are looking for other keto YouTubers, I've got some keto YouTubers in the house. So you can actually stay on this live video and you can click on their link. You can view and subscribe to them, support their channel, and then come right back to the live. You won't miss a beat. What it'll do is it'll minimize my live. No, I actually get these at Publix. I actually have found these in you have to go where they keep the Mio drops. So in one store, I found these where they keep the Mio drops. In one store, I found them where they keep the Splenda drops, where they keep the flavored drops for coffee. And then in one store, I found them with the specialty drinks. So you gotta look for them. This one in particular, I went to Publix supermarket and I found in the sugar aisle where all the artificial sugars are. But the stevia sweet water drops, I found where the Mio water drops were. So it just depends on the grocery store, but yes, you can get these on Amazon. I just get them a lot cheaper at Publix. Amazon, they want so much money for them. At Publix, I get them for like $2.99. And this will last me like 2 or 3 weeks. This goes a long way. A long way. I am loving. Don't overdo it. I don't use these for the sweetness. I use these for the flavor in my coffee. And recently, I've been using the tropical fruit flavor and the coconut flavor in my yogurt, and it's been amazing because I eat plain Greek yogurt. Okay, so going back to, recognizable. I was probably having heart issues long before that, but I was dismissing them. Maybe my blood sugar's low. My blood sugar must be low because that was what I knew. I mean, from a very young age, every time I started feeling a little funny, blood sugar's low, gotta eat something, That's just the era that I grew up in and what they taught us. But I told the story about my first huge episode And it started out with the flutters. Felt like somebody was doing this inside my heart. Started with the flutters. Started with the feeling like I was going over a hill in a car, like I would lose my stomach. It started with my fingers, my hands being incredibly cold, my feet being cold, not being able to be warm. I was so tired. I could have laid down in the middle of a 6-lane highway and slept on the burning hot asphalt. I was tired. I struggled to stay awake. If I sat for more than 2 minutes, I was dozing off. You can actually see, and I noticed, my husband noticed, if you look back at the last few videos, I'm looking very aged. I'm looking very stressed. I've got bags under my eyes. I'm tired. But you can look at my Fitbit stats and see that I'm sleeping more than I have been, but I'm freaking exhausted all the time. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Somebody must have messaged me. Somebody messaged me and caused my phone to slip. Okay. But my first big episode that I was hospitalized for was back when oh my gosh, now it's going to just keep doing it. Stop calling me. So that was around 32. Well, because it was my very first episode, they did the standard stress test. They did the echocardiogram. They observed me. They put me on a 24-hour, hi, Christine. They put me on a 24-hour heart monitor. They could see, and this was kind of the doctor's attitude. Well, I mean, you're having some PVCs, you're having some palpitations, you're having blah, 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 but it's not fatal, it's not deadly. A lot of people suffer from what you're suffering from, and they function just fine. And so that was pretty much their answer for me. Is like, okay, because other people have this disorder and they don't suffer from it, you're going to be okay. Hi, Jana. Good morning. I don't believe that I've seen you on my channel. Welcome to my live. And I can't stay long today, guys, because I have a doctor's appointment at 8 o'clock this morning, so I actually have to leave. So I'm feeling very anxious. I have a heart appointment today. I've been having some issues as far as symptoms. I've been feeling I have a pacemaker. I've been feeling extremely fatigued. I've been feeling the flutters, the palpitations. I've been feeling the shortness of breath. I had to stop doing cardiovascular exercise about a month ago because I was struggling. Thank you, Victoria. So they did the whole 24-hour heart monitor. They said, yeah, you're having some palpitations. It's probably stress. Cut out caffeine. It's probably your diabetes. Blah, 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 blah. Hypoglycemia. Might as well be diabetes. It was the beginning, right? Okay, so fast forward a couple years later, I would have palpitations, but I just learned how to ignore it because they told me everybody else lives with it and it's fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Don't be a drama queen. 2 years later, I started getting this tightness in this right exactly here. It felt like somebody was shooting hot fluid into my carotid artery. I would get pain in my jaw, tightness in my chest that would radiate across, which was my first symptoms of angina. It literally feels like you are having a freaking heart attack. Of course, the doctors bring me in. They strap a 24-hour monitor on me. They tell me it's stress. They tell me that angina is common. It's not deadly. There's nothing. And this whole time, thank you, Jenna. This whole time, the reason that they're saying this is because they don't know what's causing it. They have already determined that I have a very healthy heart. And at this time, I have a very quick recovery rate. My blood pressure's good. My weight was around 155, 160. My cholesterol was good. I seemed and appeared to be pretty healthy. About 6 months later, I was hospitalized again, this time falling because I literally felt like I was falling. I lost my balance. I fell. Shortness of breath, angina, feeling heart palpitations, PVCs. This time that I was hospitalized, they had to take me by ambulance. The ambulance driver noted that I was in atrial fib. So now we're talking about not just palpitations, not just PVC. So don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. Slap a Band-Aid on it. Now they're like, okay, now we're seeing atrial fib. So this is something that could be more serious. So then they strapped me to a 30-day monitor. Over that 30 days, they had hundreds of recordings where my heart would go from beating very slow to beating very fast to tachycardia to bradycardia, but it wasn't happening at a feverish rate like it happens now, okay? So this is the beginning of the symptoms. So the doctor put me on a beta blocker, which slowed my heart rate. So now I went from having these feeling like I'm falling episodes, feeling like I'm going over a hill, feeling standing there and all of a sudden, boom, 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 feeling my eyes pulse in my head, like high blood pressure. I went from that to not being able to function, to being tired, to constantly being cold, feeling like I was out of breath. Well, the beta blocker, I think it was metoprolol, was lowering because I suffer. Remember, sixth sinus syndrome is interruption or a blockage of the signal from the brain to a specific part of the heart, which controls rhythm. So my heart, by itself, my heart does not know what to do. It doesn't. So it'll go from 40 beats a minute to 250 beats a minute. I mean, like in a beat, it'll literally be boom, 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 you know, and then boom, boom. So what happens is, because those are like, think about your heart contracting, okay? That's a muscle. And so that muscle gets fatigue. It gets fatigue. If I walk in one direction all day long, I can walk all day long in one direction. But what happens when I walk forward and then have to walk backwards and then maybe walk sideways? Muscles that I'm not used to using are gonna fatigue, right? Same thing with the heart muscle. Heart muscles used to just doing this, those muscles are very strong, but what happens when the top flutters? That's a muscle that's not frequently used. So what happens? The muscle becomes fatigued, you start feeling chest pain. It flares up the angina. So now I'm having angina on a regular basis. Now I'm having, no, actually, I actually do. I just had 2 months ago, I just had a full blood panel done, hormone and vitamin deficiency. I am perfect on everything, everything. As far as my supplements go, I take magnesium for calm gut, about 500, 600 milligrams a day. I get plenty of potassium. I eat lots of avocado, and I do Soleil water twice a day, each time at about 1,200 milligrams of sodium. But I spread that out through the entire day. Plus, I put new salt in my electrolyte drink. So I'm not vitamin deficient. So now the doctors are looking at atrial fib, and they're like, oh, okay, what's going on? Well, when they admitted me to the hospital for atrial fib, of course, I had some things go on in my career that I began to worry about my job. The stress compiled. Now I'm having atrial fib. I'm having massive panic. I'm having massive anxiety. I'm having angina attacks, and I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about my job. I can't discuss it, but there were some things that transpired that made me wonder if I was going to lose and I don't just have a job, I have a career. I've been at the same company for 20 years. I was worried. So some of that was self-induced. Some of that was outside influence, you know, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's done. That's over. That's in the past. So anyway, so now I'm worried about losing my job. I'm going through all this hard stuff. I'm scared to death. At the time, I was in a marriage where my husband really did not support me at all. He was more concerned about me getting dinner on the table and making sure I went to that school conference than he was, hey, you got a cardiologist appointment at 3. Let me cook dinner for my children. You know, he wasn't supportive at all. So I was kind of on my own with all of this. So after all of that goes through, and each time the doctor's like, your heart is healthy. Your valves are healthy. You don't have any blockages. Your blood pressure is beautiful. Therefore, they dismissed everything that was happening, going, I guess because they couldn't diagnose it, that it wasn't there. If I can't see it, then it's not there. I don't know. So these symptoms continued to get worse, and now it went from like where once a month I was feeling really horrible to once a week to twice a week. Anyway, so on and so forth. Let's fast forward to 5 years ago. 5 years ago, the issues were so bad that they were recording over 176 arrhythmias a day. That means that throughout an entire day, as many times as your heart beats, about every fourth beat, my heart was doing something it's not supposed to do. I think that okay, here's what my doctor, he tried to push a Whole30 diet. He tried to push a more of a vegetarian, vegan, Mediterranean style, plant-based, I guess, plant-based. But because he has seen my results with keto, he has been a lot more receptive to what I'm doing. So I guess I've changed his mind. Okay, so now the problems are so bad that I'm passing out. I pass in a 1 week period. I passed out in Walmart. I passed out in Lowe's. No warning, just walking. Everything's fine, hunky dory, and all of a sudden, hitting the floor. So they still can't find what's wrong with my heart. They're like, we don't know what's causing this. We can see it's happening, but we don't know what's causing it. Finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was I was taken to the hospital in myocardial infraction, which is the beginning rhythm of a heart attack. One of the chambers of my heart had completely stopped beating. The other top chamber of my heart was just doing this. It wasn't beating. It was just doing this. So I had actually lost both of the top chambers of my heart. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was having I was having a heart attack. I always say I thought I was having a heart attack. I actually was beginning of a heart attack. I would hate to feel what a full-blown heart attack feels like, because that was horrifying. So, I mean, it was to the point where the paramedic stripped my shirt off right there at work in front of God and everybody. Everybody got to see Melanie's tatas that day. It wasn't until I grabbed my shirt and put it up over me like this and said, excuse me, that they made everybody leave. But that was kind of an embarrassing situation. But anyway, that has nothing to do with my heart issue. So they finally decided that Melanie needs a pacemaker. They installed the pacemaker, but not without some experimental drugs and some experimental experiments. And meanwhile, they would put me on one drug that would take care of the slow heart rate, but then I was experiencing supraventricular tachycardia. They would put me on the heart rate medicine to slow the tachycardia down, and then I would go into a bradycardia syncope. And it got so bad that when I was sleeping at night, they were detecting heart rates in the 30s and 20s. Do you realize if your heart rate falls under 30, that it can just stop? It can stall. And the way that a doctor explained it to me was it would be like trying to drive a car 30 miles an hour it would be like trying to drive a car at 10 miles an hour in fifth gear. So, your car would bog down and stall. He says, and once the heart stalls, that's it. Good night. Good night, Irene. So they put in the pacemaker, and there was a lot of tweaking that had to be done because not everybody has the same. Sick sinus syndrome doesn't mean that you treat patient A, B, C exactly the same, because it's a signal issue, and because the signal might be every other beat that's happening, it might be every 6 beat. It's a constant ongoing. That's why I have to go to my pacemaker clinic every 6 months, and they make some adjustments in my pacemaker. But I guess because I had felt bad for so long, like tired, lethargic, constant headache. Do you know that one time I even lost my vision? Completely blacked out, could not regain my vision. It was so freaking scary. So scary. I am literally standing there and blacked out, standing up, could not see anything. For probably 22 minutes, it took my vision to come back. I thought I was blind. Let me tell you, that was some horrifying crap I was going through. And meanwhile, I had all these people going, oh, it's just stress. It's just, yeah, okay. People like that make me want to throat punch them. And I am like the nicest, kindest, sweetest, mild-tempered person in the world. Don't like confrontation. I'm not confrontational. But when you have somebody that's like, no, I'm passing out. Oh, it's just stress. You just got to reduce the stress in your life. That's causing everything. Anxiety. Oh, everybody has anxiety. Those kind of people should just shut up. Just shut up. Okay, I'm sorry. Be quiet, please. So there's that. So I had all these people in the background going, oh yes, I feel stuff like that all the time. I have stuff like all that time. And they kind of dismiss you. They kind of, and it's the same thing. And so now I was worried about work again because I was missing a lot of time, and I'm worried I'm going to lose my job. And I actually had some things that were said, some things that were done that made me worry. And then some of it was internal, me worrying about it, probably unjustifiably so. But there's a long story behind that. But you know what? That's then. This is now. Let's move on. So after my pacemaker, 6 months recovery, they said, okay, Melanie, go do your thing. Go out into the world and make a difference. And that was 4.5 years ago. And you can go back to my videos and you can see where I used to run. I used to get up every morning. I used to walk for miles. So I did a 200 stair challenge, a 100 stair challenge. I used to do all kinds of crazy fitness challenges, walking miles and miles, and I can't do it anymore. So my doctor told me that this day would be coming. Sick sinus is not something. The pacemaker keeps my heart from stopping. And it sends signals to my heart to help my heart know what to do. But I'm struggling right now. And recent turn of events, my doctor wants to see me. So, and I don't know why, but I've been praying about it. And I'm just saying, a lot of people are like, oh, don't worry, it's probably nothing. Well, I've had the same cardiologist for 6.5, 7 years now, and he never once has said that. So this is new. Anyway, I was I'm going to be 50 this year. I was 45. I've had my pacemaker in May. In May, it was 5 years since I've had my pacemaker. Wow. Well, I mean, so I'm going to the doctor today, and I'm going to discuss with him the chronic fatigue that I'm experiencing. I'm tired all the time. Yes. And that's the thing that worries me, is because the disease that I have usually does not become symptomatic for its patients until they're in their 60s and 70s. I mean, my dad has the same exact condition. He didn't get his pacemaker until he was almost 70 years old. Well, actually later than that, maybe 75. But he had the same thing where he was actually sitting in his doctor's office when his heart dropped to 30 and he passed out. Down he went. They rushed him to the hospital, and pacemaker it was. There's not a lot they can do to treat bradycardia. No, they've actually proven that they did all of that because of my age and because, insurance companies don't want to pay for anything. So now I have to start getting ready. So I'm going to take you guys with me. So now, by the way, this flavor in coffee with a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream is just life. It's life. So yeah, I'm getting ready to go to my doctor's now. I gotta leave here in like 2 minutes. But you guys keep me in your thoughts. Oh, I didn't throw the bottle away. Somebody asked me to show my coconut drops. That's it. Sweet leaf coconut drops. I put those in my plain Greek yogurt, and it's absolutely delicious. Let me get my dogs in and shut the door. I gotta go. Yes. It's wonderful. It's got kind of a maple leaf flavor, but it does taste like caramel. Don't forget the thumbs up. I got 12 people in the room, only 2 thumbs up. It really definitely helps my algorithm. It helps my channel grow. Thank you, Barb O. Thank you, Lisa, Victoria, Secret Keto Dieter, Melissa. I don't know who all is still here. I said Victoria. Jana, I'm sorry that I didn't see you come in the room. Heidi, thank you so much. So just keep me in your thoughts and prayers today. I am going to the doctor. I'm going to try to get some answers. Unfortunately, I think the source of my anxiety is coming from the fact that when I was first diagnosed with this disorder, they told me that my heart would not get better. They told me that eventually it would become a massive disability. And I was so proud of myself because for the first 3 years of my pacemaker, I was accomplishing so many things. And even my doctor was like, I'm impressed. I don't know how you keep going. I don't know how you keep doing that. Having this condition, you should not be able to do so many things. And he told me that eventually it's going to slow me down. And now it's starting to slow me down and I'm scared. Nobody wants to think about their life like not being able to go out for long walks, not being able to just like, I'm a very independent person. And although I love my husband, sorry, you are looking up my nose, but I'm trying to unscrew my coffee with one hand. Hi, Pamela. I'm a very independent person. I don't like asking for help. I don't like depending on others. I've always taken care of myself. And I got to be honest with you, I'm scared. I am so close to retirement. Think about it, guys. I'm 5 years from retirement. And, and I'm thinking, well, how fast is this going to progress? How bad am I going to feel a year from now? Because they told me that this was coming. And now it's happening, and because at first I was like, no way, I feel amazing. But that's just because I went from feeling like total crap to only just feeling barely like crap. And now I'm back into the feeling like crap again. So, wish me luck today. I'm going to let you guys go because I've got to get on the road. My appointment's at 8 o'clock, and they do not like late patients. They can be late. They can make me wait forever. But, I better not be late. You know how doctors are. Anyway. All right, guys. I love you. Thank you so much for the love. Don't forget the thumbs up. I promise I will update you in my daily vlog today. Have a great day.